Women in the workplace are being told what to wear, how to have their hair and how much makeup they need to actually put on. According to British parliamentary reports into office discrimination, MPs began an inquiry after a receptionist was sent home for refusing to wear high heels. They heard examples of sexism from hundreds of different women. So, what is it about high heels that puts them at the centre of this debate? Well, with me now is the podiatrist Supple and shoe designer Krisha Bejal. Thanks both of you for being here with me. And Krisha, to you first of all, when you look at something like this, a vehicle to transport us, it makes absolutely no sense, but I rather suspect you look at something like that rather differently.
Yes. For me, they're a sculpture. They're a beautiful piece that you put on your body to highlight parts of your body. It's either something that accentuates your legs or your feet in general. But I also agree that, you know, they're not exactly the most comfortable thing to wear.
I'll come back to that. But I mean, as a designer, I mean, you talked about the line, because you often hear fashion designers talk about how somehow it affects the line. What do they mean by that?
So what do you mean by that?
The line of the body and the shape, what a high heel will actually do.
It accentuates your legs, it makes your calf muscles stick up, it fetishizes the way you look at the legs and the body itself. Your posture changes, your back stays straight. There's things that make even a woman empowered by wearing them. It just totally changes your mindset when you're wearing them.
Emma, a woman empowered, when you see something like this as a podiatrist, what do? Wince?
Well, I have to say I like the design of them. Obviously a new shoe designer has to be encouraged, but women like their high heels. A lot of women need them to be a bit taller, but what we're talking about here is the imposition of a dress code, and I've been lucky enough to be watching this all the way from Parliament and starting the debate. But these women have been in my clinic. They've been saying to me, I need to go to work tomorrow and I'm being told to wear a higher and higher heel. And that's where I got this idea from about working feet are women in the workforce, and we need to intervene as clinicians.
That's very interesting you say that. Just in terms of what you do and what those people who come to you say, what is it actually doing to their feet?
Well, they're having to do a day's work in a vice, sometimes it's hurting them.
Vice, my goodness.
Exactly.
What a way to describe it.
And sometimes we've been moving to keep a pair of shoes in your locker. Friends of mine carry their high heels in their bag. You only have to go into the streets or wherever you are to see that people are not
walking
that's
so common,
everywhere.
Isn't it?
Exactly. So, and that's why people sell bigger bags, because they can fit the posher shoes in them. So there's a whole clinical side to this.
I was reading one of the things that you said about this, because the College of Podiatry says that actually for a fifth of women, they're in pain after only 10 minutes, which is an incredible statistics. But you think it actually puts women at a disadvantage at work, don't you?
I do, and certainly depending on your heel height, you can choose your perfect heel height. There's lots of ways that you can work with your podiatrist to find a pair of shoes that fits your foot type, and there's a very big thing here. So it's human architecture, find the right shoe, the right occasion, and then you've got evidence-based medicine. You're actually looking after your feet. So it's not heel heights we're after, but we're saying if someone's doing a job and their foot is hurting them because of the shoe that's being imposed, then we're really getting involved. And the College of Podiatry is really interested on an individual basis on who's hurting who here.
Yes, that is interesting. Krisha, in terms of, you touched on it a little earlier because you talked about the comfort. I mean, can you ever design a shoe like this when you're talking about towering heels that is comfortable for any length of time?
I don't think anything's ever comfortable. It's how long you've learnt to wear them. From a young age, if you've always worn heels.
How long you can put up with it, you were all
Yes, my mother's wore them since she was really young, so she's used to wearing them all day, every day. I'm not. I've wore trainers or Doc Martens just to wear in the workshop so I can make these shoes. But so even though I make them, I can't wear them to make them.
That's fascinating. It was interesting listening to a whole range of things that these British MPs were told by women, giving evidence to them, because it was all manner of things. It's makeup, it's hair, it's length of skirts. But on heels, women said that many of the times they felt humiliated or sexualised when they were actually told they had to wear them. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I think that's really wrong. I don't think you should be able to wear them in the workplace if it means you're being sexualised or it. I think that if men can wear flats, then what's wrong with women wearing flats? You'll be able to do more of your work than if you were in heels. It's actually distracting your work, and if you want to pay me for wearing heels and not doing half as much work, then by all means.
You talked about men. We were scratching our heads upstairs a little earlier trying to work out a male equivalent and couldn't really find one at all. In terms of the damage it does, in terms of your profession, you know, is it permanent damage, or eventually when you get home and you kick your shoes off, does it ease?
It can be
scientifically, what is it?
It can be permanent damage, and I've been following this journey, and when we went to the committee and there was a break, they all ran off to make a vote, and they came back and they'd been listening to lipstick charts and institutionalised sexism, and they said, well, we couldn't have run for that vote with our high heels on, because, you know, there are marble floors to be encountered, etc. So yes, you can inherit the whole architecture of corns, callus, bunions, all the things that are on the list of not glamorous. But if your feet are killing you because of your shoe that you're made to work at work, then we have an issue with that.
Just a final word from you, because I know that you're, what is it, the 8th generation of shoemaker in your family? I mean, I can't see your love affair with all of this disappearing.
No, not at all, but all my family have made all the shoes for the British Army, so they were also steel cut boots, and I'm now suddenly doing heels, so there's also a
there's a balance there somewhere. Yeah. Well, Krisha, thank you so much for coming in and bringing your beautiful shoes in to show us. And Emma, thanks to you as well. Thanks very much for being here on the programme. Do stay with us, because coming up, we're looking at what Donald Trump will do about Afghanistan. The Afghan ambassador to the United States is with us to tell us how his country could cope if American support was actually reduced. And a new study reveals personality is partly determined by the shape of our brains. Those fascinating stories coming up here on Global here in the next few minutes. Don't go away.